Hey, so I am so fortunate to be here with Mark Antonio Rios. Now, let me set this part up real quick. Mark and I met over Instagram a very long time ago, and Mark is an insanely talented dude. I mean, the guy does graphic arts from movie posters to graphic visuals for movies. He's a director, he writes, he does visual effects for films. He's actually one of the true, like, legit superstars of San Antonio. And I'm not just saying that. I'm honestly not just saying that, dude. You've hooked me up with so many amazing things, visuals over the years. So first of all, I haven't talked to you since the cemetery.
Yeah.
Mark worked on Remy's Demons for a day, I haven't seen him since then. It's been probably over about a year and a half. So I just wanted to tell you that, dude. You have been such a blessing, like doing all the stuff you've done. You did a poster for Remy's Demons that I share probably more than the other posters. You did my favorite design for Domestic Hell. I made the T-shirts with that. That's like I geek out over that image. And you did some amazing stuff with Bloody Drama way back. But and I love that you actually did this sort of like 3 of my movies all in sort of like this cool graphic art. It was really cool. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I've gone on, but just tell me and whoever's watching, like, what you're up to right now.
Well, I'm starting a new project, which is just pretty much a recycle of this web series that I kind of want to expand into a feature film. And I was working on the visual effects yesterday, just a pre-visualization of how some things are going to look like. And actually kind of excited for my first feature film. It's a little, it's out of my comfort zone, actually, but I'm kind of excited to work on this first feature film.
How much can you tell us about it?
It's pretty much a post-apocalyptic drama. It's pretty much a character study of this one individual just trying to survive the everyday in the wasteland.
And do you like, because you're such a visual artist, and I'm not so much a visual artist like you. Do you start there? Like how's your? Tell me about your process. How do you come about?
Well, my process is it just starts from a small idea, like a small idea that turned into a web series, which I'm just canceling right now. I was like, I want to expand that character, to expand where they fit into the story, and I start developing story around them, like the setting, like what is happening during that time. Is there a political issue? Is there like this nuclear waste zombies, like something happening there? Then after I figure out my world process, I kind of want to test some visual effects, like what can I achieve? If I can't achieve this, I'm gonna have to reshoot it like this. And after that, I start storyboarding first. That's the first thing I did. Then start writing the script. Although it has very little dialogue, I kind of just want to make it worthwhile when it gets to the dialogue scene. Like, this is what we've been waiting for. Because our main character doesn't talk at all.
Are you like what's sort of like? Do you have a sort of vision of your sort of future career, or are you kind of like, I'll do visual effects, I'll do directing, I'll do writing?
Well, I just see, I guess, myself becoming a bigger filmmaker. I kind of want to learn everything I can and apply it to my projects. Even if I work on big projects later on, I kind of just want to say, hey, I can just do this. You don't have to worry about that. I want to be more control of my projects.
Wow. Yeah. Because I mean, I like, and I'm a little older. Maybe I'm old school. I don't know. But you're there. I know a few guys like you where it's like you're really good visually. You know, with effects, you can do effects. You can direct. You can write. Like that's a package. You know, like I don't have that package. Like I'm more of like a writer and director and everything. I'm not really super great with the effects department. And the
Yeah.
backdrop on that is so Mark did visual effects for Remy's Demons, which I just want to let you know, I've had a lot of compliments about that. People have told me like they've been like, man, it's like your effects were really good for a low budget movie, and I was like, I know, I didn't do them, but I was like, and I tell them about you, but like I've actually gotten a lot. And again, my ignorance is I don't even know how he did it, so I can't really explain it to people. I've been on podcasts and like they've asked me that, and I've been like, oh, I don't know, maybe he uses After Effects. I'm not sure, but so that's the
Yeah.
backdrop of our experience. You also did an awesome, amazing poster for it. But the main thing was I reached out to you, to Mark, over Instagram, and I was like, hey man, do you do visual effects? And he was like, yeah. And then he did a couple in the film that honestly, without them, it wouldn't have worked. I mean,
Yeah.
particularly. So tell me about like that, like when you get in, when you take out the director's hat and you take off the scriptwriter hat, and now you're in the visual effects hat. What's that like?
It's mostly like you have fun with visual effects, and I just feel like a lot of fun in just crafting a scene. But the downfall is you had to wait till finished rendering, and that's just it just makes it painful because you have to sit there for 2 hours just trying to wait for that scene to render. If it's not good, you have to go back and fix that. I had 3 different variants of the demon horns, and I just realized, you know what? I'll just make my own in Photoshop because I actually use a PNG, but I don't want to get copyright or you get copyrighted. So I just made my own like a silhouette and I just threw it in there. It was a hassle just for that because I needed something to track. So I had to do frame by frame tracking manually. Just, I don't know if you see, there's like the little part where it kind of shifts a little bit. And it was actually pretty easy once you get in the zone. You'll start throwing like little fits here and there. Then you finally realize, okay, what if I do it like this? And it makes it much easier. The fire scene was probably one of my favorites. That's the first time I ever did a fire scene. Like, what can I do to make it look authentic enough, to make it look realistic? So I went to Action VFX, and they actually had a lot of essentials that you can actually buy, and I bought some of their fire assets, and I motion tracked the footage. And it's great that it's kind of shaking a little bit. It gives that realism to it. And I added the fire in there. The only problem I had is that I had to probably rotoscope or mask around the bushes, and I didn't really have the time for that because I was in classes. So I looked up what kind of trees and bushes were around you when you filmed, and I found pictures of those. And I just put those in front of the fire so it just looks like there's fire coming out of the house and interacting with the bushes. Added a few glows and smoke here and there, and it just fits at the end. And the inside was a little pain because I wanted to give that reflected look, and luckily there was tile that looked really glossy, and I just had a reflection, and it just made it more realistic. The only trouble that I had was pretty much the couch because I didn't know how to place the fire on the couch. I was still new to the whole fire thing, but for my first time, it's not that bad. It actually looked pretty good at the end.
Absolutely, it looks awesome. I mean, like I said, and that's the key for people to understand. Like, Mark is thrown into the fire because it's just we never met or anything. So I just give him, I'm just like, oh, well, this happens here and this happens there. And then he's kind of, whereas typically you'd probably have more experience with the director sitting down and talking about what exactly is necessary for it. So you had to sort of like fly on your own, your own idea.
Felt comfortable because I was like, okay, I had more control of what I can do here. And this is the first time I actually did something this big. I've never done something this big on a scale, especially on a feature film. It's like a great opportunity to work on this.
Yeah, it was awesome. And you like hit it out of the park. Like I said, a lot of people have been like, one guy asked me, like, did we actually light a house on fire? I was like, no, we didn't light a house on fire.
Yeah, that's so real.
It does. It looks awesome. And for me, editing wise, like, one of the cool things you did, which I didn't think of until you said it. So Mark did this. I gave him what I guess you would consider a plate shot of the front of the house with no actors in it and anything. And so later I shot the scene later than that. And Mark told me, he said, hey, when you show their faces, you got to give a little flicker of the fire.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. On set, I don't know how you work, but I would have went on set. I would have totally forgot that. But I remember you told me like a day or two before, and I was like, okay. And I wrote a little note, and I was like, all right, I got to remember to do that because I agreed with you. I was like, yeah, if there isn't that feel, it wouldn't make any sense. It would just be like, wait, why are they like, they're like glossy lit or they're like flat lit, So
yeah, I noticed that too. I was like, it gives that realism to it because a lot of other lower budget movies, they forget to do that, and it kind of takes you out of the effect. As Remy and what's the other character was walking out of the house, Mira, you could see the light on their faces. They're looking back at the house burning. Yeah,
and that was totally was your gaffing skills right there. Because like I like I said, I was like, and then when I remember, and it was funny because Mark wasn't on that set that day, but literally I had all these portable lights, and like I had like I don't have much crew, but there was like three people holding lights, and I had one person kind of going like this, another guy just on the dimmer of the light, and another guy was just turning it on and off. It was a pretty ridiculous looking situation, but like, and it was in a suburban neighborhood, so people driving by were probably like, "What the hell are they?"
Yeah, I just found out the other day too because I wanted to do an effect like that. I was like, wait, they make light bulbs that just illuminate fire. And I was like, oh, I wish I knew that.
I know. The only thing about those are, one, the one that I came across, they create a bad flicker, like a shutter flicker, and two, they're not very bright. So you'd really, depending on where you're shooting at and the ISO you're shooting at, you really have to kind of get like a lot of them, because I did this boxing thing where we wanted that, and the flicker wasn't enough. Like it wasn't even showing up. I was like, and I only bought one, and I was like, shit. Like I was like, I only have one. So if anybody out there is doing that, just make sure you buy a few of them if you can.
Yeah, and there's also the slide I'm using that actually has a fire setting on it. This
nice.
Aperture MC.
Oh, cool. No, I've never seen that. It has a setting on it?
Yeah, it has an FX setting. If you navigate through the light, there's an FX option. It gives you like pulsing, cop car,
nice.
Fire.
Oh, that's awesome.
For any filmmaking needs, it has pretty much a lot of cool features on it.
Does it have a TV setting?
Yes, it has lightning and TV.
No way. That's brilliant. Yep. Oh my God, dude. I remember so many times back in like 90s, early 2000s, I would sit there and have to like put blue gel on a thing, low on the ground, like where a TV would be, and just have people creating that TV effect was like a nightmare. So tell me, like, walk us through, you kind of did, but walk us through sort of like some of imagining. So Mark put together a really cool effects video about behind the scenes, which we're going to play right now over this. But Mark, walk us through some of like your process in that video clip.
I guess starts the demon effect because that was actually the first thing you sent me to work on. The demon effect was, I thought it was going to be like an easy peasy 5-minute thing, but I just realized there was nothing to track onto the demon. There was nothing to track. And I turned up the color so I could see the actor because you can kind of see him. And I kind of tracked like some of the skin you could see, and that actually helped me a lot. But the only downside is you can only see it for so long that I started tracking something else. I had to go in there manually and have to put the tracking marks where they belong. The tracking marks are pretty much telling you, hey, this is where the tracking mark's going to be. But every time the demon moves, you can see like you don't see any more light. Like you're not supposed to see him at all. But just for that clear second, it's tracking it. So as he turns down, the tracking mark stays up here. So I had to just rearrange that manually. Then I made an asset of myself. I made an asset of a demon myself, the horn part, and I just motion tracked it onto his head. There's a little flaw to it, but it still looks believable enough. And I had to color correct that scene so you could just see darkness a little bit. So that's pretty much all I did for the demon.
And then, so I was super nervous about the fire, only not the exterior one, but the interior, because I remember I knew that like that shooting day was a monster day. We shot a ton of stuff, and I always do this to myself. And I don't know if you do this to yourself, but if I can give you any advice is, if you're going into your most epic scene of your movie, give yourself time. Because the last two movies I've done, I didn't give myself enough time to shoot the sort of dramatic fight scenes and stuff. And so I was really worried. I mean, you did an amazing job, and it came out great. Like, I have no complaints. I know for myself, I was like, man, I wanted to give you more shots and more things. I just ran out of time. And like I said, I bit off more than I could chew. So Mark just got, all of a sudden it just gave him footage of the sort of like some of the climactic moments. So talk us through like that, some of the challenges with that.
So with the fire scene, I actually wanted to go all out with it, but I was on a time crunch because it was between classes, because I'm going to college to learn about film. And I was trying to make it look simplistic, but not overdo it. Like I was still learning visual effects. I wanted to do like the glass exploding from the inside because of all the heat. And I just realized, okay, it would have been way too dramatic at that point. I just wanted to keep it in that tone you were going for the movie. So for the fire, I just applied fire to the windows, and I wanted to just give a little touch of the body because I did see the scene he was throwing gasoline everywhere, especially on top of the body, and that would be the first thing that the flames would go to. And the only trouble I had, it didn't look realistic enough until I thought about what if I added some reflections coming in, because the ground was very glossy because of the tile, and after a while it started to look much better. And I added a lot of glow, and it started to look so much better, actually. If I actually have a pre-visualization of it, I'll probably send it to you sometime, but it was just a fire on the windows, and it just didn't look good out. It really didn't look good. And the couch fire, I did two variants. One was the couch on the edge, and there's one just on the floor towards the couch. And that one didn't really take too much time. You just kind of just drag and drop. But the rest of everything else, you kind of have to track. You have to be careful, especially on the couch. I wanted to have the fire around the couch, so I have to go in there and kind of like mask it and just rotoscope a little bit so it can go behind the couch. And the fire on the outside, that was actually my favorite scene to work on, because I had actually actors interacting with each other in a scene, and your focus will be on those actors, but I don't want to take your focus too much out from the fire, so I wanted to keep that balance. Because if I had it really bright orange, you wouldn't really see the actors. So just enough where it does look believable.
Yeah, it looks awesome. No, that came out like, that's one of my favorite things in the whole movie. I mean, and the fact that you made it happen, because I was super worried. I was like, how am I going to pull this off? When I wrote it, I was like, how am I going to pull this off? And then obviously we started talking, and I was like, oh my God, it's actually going to happen. Because I was going to rewrite it. I was going to be like, oh, maybe I should just do this or that. So I'm grateful for you to do that. So that's awesome. To wrap up here, like, so where can people see you, and like, what's next under, I know you said you're doing the movie.
Yeah. I'm just trying to learn from everybody else, because I do have a big shootout scene at the end of this movie. I'm just trying to find a location for it, because you just don't want to walk up into a public area with fake guns like, hey, I'm just going to film here. You film mine. With this whole pandemic, I just feel, I mean, I have more time to do stuff. School's about to start around the corner, but the thing is, on this side of town, on the north side, there really isn't that much places to film, like in an empty, vast area. It's going to be, I need to give a lot of time to this final scene, because it's going to be one big final shootout scene.
Did you write it? Is it written, the whole script?
The whole thing is just pretty much storyboard. I'm going off the storyboard, because there's not that much dialogue. Most of the dialogue is probably going to be improv, kind of like how everything fell apart. But I kind of just want to be more professional about an actual script for that last 20 minutes.
Nice.
I'm just worried because there's no dialogue for the first hour. I kind of going off the book, like I Am Legend, the actual novel, how it's pretty much just person's actions almost all the way through until this bad thing happens and there's more dialogue. I'm just kind of worried about this project, because there's a lot of visual effects I'm doing. Like yesterday, I was working on a hologram effect, and it actually looked pretty good. I actually have motivation to do this project, but there's some things that I still have to work on. I'm not a really great storyteller. I'm more a great visual storyteller. And just hopefully that conquers that at the end of the day.
It sounds really cool, dude. I mean, I've seen like some, I saw the clips the YouTube stuff you were doing, and that looked really cool. And I've seen some other stuff you did where you had like a guy walking around, sort of like it was like a playground and in a burning house. I mean, that stuff was really awesome. So it sounds really cool, dude. I would just keep plugging away like you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just worried because I'm the lead actor of it. I've acted in a couple of short films before, but my character is just so quiet, and I just hopefully I can just be a good actor. I'm not really a good actor.
Is there only one character?
There's actually two, but I do want to have like just record myself on a green screen with like different equipment stuff. This is like background characters he's trying to avoid, like multiple scavengers in the wasteland. And I still trying to teach myself CG. I do want to have some CG shots in it. At the end, I just hopefully it's not like, here's the CG movie with no story. Here you go.
Yeah.
Story. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you kind of know where it's going in terms of the direction and the story. And honestly, that's, I mean, I there's nothing wrong with not having something scripted out in terms of dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, improv works as long as the structure's there, like the characters have motivations, proper motivations, it'll work. You know, honestly, actors, like in my experience, a lot of actors end up improvising much better stuff than I could ever write anyway. So.
Yeah, I was actually, this project just gonna be a web series. I saw a lot of potential into this. I was like, you know what, I can turn this into something bigger. I have 2 failed projects before this I never got to finish because COVID hit. And you're right, a lot of actors are good in improvising because a friend of mine for a scene that never made it. This project never made it afloat. He was willing to jump out of a car because he's all tied up running away from a gunman. It's like, you don't have to jump out of a car. Just jump out of a car like 1 mile per hour. He's like, just go 30. He's like, no, you're not going 30. Yeah.
That sounds awesome, man. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you. Thanks again for doing this, and we'll probably do something else in the future. And is there like some place, if anyone, people watching this can follow you on Insta? Like, is there any place that you kind of share what you're up to, so they might, people are probably gonna be like, man, that movie sounds cool. Where can I follow this guy?
Well, I was trying to think because I'm not really at as much as just trying to get stuff going. I have 3 YouTube channels, but one of the main ones, that's where I'm going to be posting some teasers and some behind the scenes. Is my main channel. I'm actually doing an indie film review series of some films. It's going to be a lot of stuff is going to be on there.
Nice. What is it called?
That's my name, MarcRios.
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay. Marc Antonio Rios on YouTube. I'm going to actually go over and subscribe. Is that up right now?
Yes. And
Okay.
the secondary channel is Echo Entertainment. That's where I might post this, like the actual movie, depending on what I want to do with it.
Okay.
It could go on Prime. It could go on there.
Yeah.
Depends where it's going to go.
Awesome. Well, there's a lot of great distribution places now beyond Prime, by the way. But anyway, thanks, man. And I appreciate everything you've done for me all these years. And I definitely going to be hitting you up because I'm working on a sort of sci-fi horror thing right now, screenplay. So I'll probably ask you for some more effects in the near future. But thanks, brother. I will talk to you soon.